Okay, I am so thankful for David to have brought us here to be able to talk about what I have been doing actually 21 years now. I was born in Belgium, and my mom always thought the grass was greener somewhere else, so we moved from one country to another, and I did about 21 schools in 16 years' time. So it's quite a bit. From boarding school, Catholic schools, to public schools, to a whole gamma. I lived in so many different countries, from South Africa to Yugoslavia, Bulgaria. So I've lived in small villages, in schools that were 6 grades were in one classroom. And I loved all of it, really. It made me, I think, who I am today. And so when I turned 21, I woke up one day and I said, I'm going to America, I'm going to make it there. And so I did. I barely spoke any English, but I came, I said, hey, and I was super happy. And a couple of weeks being here, I said I had enough money for 3 months, and within 2 weeks, I was walking down Market Street, and I saw all of these artists and singers and on the streets, which was not so common in Europe. And I was like, wow, they're so talented, but they're all on the streets. Why is that? So I had this vision of saying, one day I would like to have this huge building, and I want to make this into a hotel where the artists could come and express themselves, and have all of the rooms decorated with artwork. Musicians would come and play music at night and so forth. So that was my big vision. So then I created a family, 2 sons, single parent, and it was not easy. But I still had a goal in my mind, I still had ideas, and I still wanted to create this space where I could help others evolve in their creativity. I don't know, I had to help myself first though. And so I was driving down El Camino, and I saw this little space, a 250 square foot store. I was then a single parent of a 4-year-old and expecting a second one. And I said, well, I always wanted to have my own business. So I looked it up, sold everything I had. I cut out a lot of the story, the process of it, and I had a living space on top. So I said, perfect, this is very much my style. I can open up, and I started as a second-hand clothing store because that's all I could afford to build with merchandise, right? And I would be able to raise my kids on the 2nd floor and build up my own little shop. So I did, but it's really hard for me to stay still, so I started taking all of these clothes apart, and I started designing my own line of clothes. I had my vision, and I said, okay, I can make this into this. My friends were saying, Jill, you need to go out with this is really great, it's so whimsical, and you should do some shows. And so I did a fashion show, and I was very surprised about the reaction of it. People really loved it, and I was like, wow, really, something I've created people like. And so then I decided to put myself through school into fashion and costume designing. And so just to learn the skills, I wanted to perfect my workmanship. And from there I started evolving, and Ricochet is the name of my store. The name came from, I looked it up in the dictionary, and I said I needed to find that right name. The ricochet, you throw it and it comes back. And that started as a second-hand clothing store. And then I also thought about it. I said, well, I ricocheted my whole life from one country to another, from one school to another, from one culture to another as well. So I said, that's a perfect name for me and the business. So as I was growing the business, I'm seeing if, okay. As I was growing the business, started doing a lot of fairs and shows, and I went to school, learned how to perfect my workmanship, and now I wanted to teach it, because I always thought I was going to be a teacher. I always felt like I wanted to share any knowledge I had. It didn't have to be fashion, it could have been anything. I always felt like I wanted to build a community around me that would like what I have to offer, and for those who may need help, right? I think we all do at some point. And so I started teaching on how to redesign from what you have in your closet. And so people were starting to be interested in that. And people would ask me, why are you teaching this? You know, they're your designs. And I said, well, I can't do it by myself. I say, the more I can help others that have the same interest, the more we will be surrounded with the things that I love, correct? So I feel like we really need to spread this word out. And then I had students that at some point could not afford the classes, or were saying, well, I'm financially burdened, and I said, well, what if you stay with me, because I would still like you to keep on learning, and why don't you stay with me, but you will learn through my designs, my visions, right? So to perfect the workmanship, and eventually you will have all of the techniques so that you can move on with your vision of things. And so that's when my internship program started. And I started this about 12 years ago. From there it started evolving, and I started reaching out to all of the colleges, and I would get college students come in and say, I want to be an intern with you, you know, and I said, well, great, I would love to grow my business, so here I will teach you how to create the clothes, but what about if I want to learn how to run the business? I said, okay, so then come on over, you can learn about running a small business, retail, marketing, and so forth. I have to do it, maybe we can, you know, somehow grow together that way. And that's how it all started evolving. Oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't find this button here. Is this what yes? Up? Oh, okay. I can't see it, so I'm sorry. There you go. Okay, so now I did this under a 250 square foot store, living upstairs, but now my living space was starting to become smaller and smaller because I started opening up the rooms. I would bring my two sons, okay, we got to move a little shorter, right? And so that became my studio, and then the living room became my classroom, and so forth. And I said, the day I explode out of here, that I have enough students coming through, I hope that one day I will have a bigger building so that I can fit more people into where you know, my vision of things. And so finally, 3 years ago, my landlord had other open space, and I said, well, I have enough money for 6 months. Could you please, you know, give me a chance? I will do everything to make this happen. I will work around the clock, and I do work around the clock for it. I love it. I wake up in the morning and I'm ready to go to work. I don't feel, 21 years later, I'm still smiling. I have amazing students that come through, amazing customers, everything. So now I have a 1,700 square foot store that I have built from nothing as a single parent. And what I really want to be is an inspiration to and it always brings tears to my eyes because that's how passionate I am about this, is to be an inspiration for all to say, yes, I can do this as long as I just follow my passion. And so I have now an art academy next to a storefront where the doors are open for all local artists to come and display their works. Our internship program is now open to creating your own line of clothes, to running a small business, to marketing, photography, to build up your portfolio. I have now opened this also not only but for college students, but for as young as 13 years old, to see, is this really something I would like to pursue in my life? Because I feel like you already almost know at a much younger age what you would like to become at some point, or at least to explore what you would like. In college, 18, actually it becomes a little bit difficult of understanding who am I, right? Because at 18, you're coming from school, your parents tell you you're an adult, you should figure things out, you should have known what you want by now, and so forth, but they were never given the opportunity to explore what they really may like or not. So now I have the internship programs as young as 18 years old. We have classes that are as young as 8 years old to come and sew and learn the techniques of it, and they can keep on exploring. I've had interns that started at 13 years old, now are quite successful after 4 or 5 years. They have started working. We do fashion shows. They come along with it. They meet with other photographers. They meet with models. They meet with designers. They get this opportunity that I feel like I'm so happy that I finally am able to really open up those doors. Brittany, who came along today, she's one of my interns. Come on over, Brittany. So Brittany is a student from FIDM, the fashion industry university, right? And she came along 9 months ago here to Ricochet, and she'll tell you a little bit about your experience with us.
Thank you, Jill. After I had graduated from FIDM in San Francisco, I had a 2-year associate's degree in fashion design. But one of my issues was, okay, I have this degree, now what, you know? And, oh, thank you. And now it was looking for a job, and all these jobs that I was interested, you had to have 5, 6 years of experience or this bachelor's degree. And I'm like, I don't even have any experience yet. I just graduated. And so then everyone kept telling me, you have to go to this place called Ricochet, 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 Ricochet. I said, okay, fine. So I finally drove by, I stopped, and I just, like, I'm very shy, so I just walked right in, talked myself into it, and I said, hi, Jill, I'm Brittany, and I heard you have an internship program here. And she's like, yeah, hi, it's so great to meet you. Just let's make an appointment, we'll talk. And I was like, was it really that easy? Like, you know, you get so scared, and they tell you it's such a cutthroat business, but it doesn't have to be that way. And being at Jill's at Ricochet for the past 9 months, I've learned so much. I'm now assisting and teaching kids how to sew, and it's so rewarding to see how their faces light up when they're learning a new skill that is no longer taught in schools, and it's so amazing. And I think it's so great what she's doing at Ricochet.
She's a great talker. No, thank you. It's my pleasure always. I feel like every student that comes in, because the fashion is a little bit of a tough business, right? It's known a little bit as a cutthroat business, and I definitely did not want that. The difference, I think, between I call it fashion because it's clothing and so forth, but we make one-of-a-kind wearable art that's made out of rescued materials. And so we don't waste anything. Every single piece is one of a kind, so I don't ever reproduce the same thing. We are environmentally friendly. We are an open door for community to come and explore this industry in every aspect. Everybody comes for their own reasons. It's not because you want to be a fashion designer. It's not because you want to own your business. It is just a place where you can come and explore and see if you can find something. We've had interns that are 60, 70 years old come in, and they are coming in for their reasons, and that door is open for everyone. We've had people come in that are in transition. They've lost their corporate job, and they're lost, and they wish they had done things that they love to do, but they didn't because of the money, because of everything that society tells you to do. And they come in to find themselves. So it's for everybody to be part of it, for men, women, young, everyone from all walks of life. That's why there's no drama in our place, right? There is no, everybody's so kind to each other, and that's the part I love the most, because we're here for ourselves, and I'm so happy that I'm able to do this, to have this open door. And I can't do it by myself, so we keep on having people like you come and support us by either shopping in our store. If not shopping, just let your friends know. If you know of anyone, a young kid, that it doesn't feel they fit in in society in certain ways, or the way society tells you to be, we have a place for them. If it's yourself, or if you have an aunt, whoever, if you let them know, I can keep on doing what I love to do, and that is to have that open door for all of us. And Ricochet can keep on growing that way. It's not a money thing. We need money because we have to put a roof over our heads, but it's to follow a passion. So I'm going to show you a little bit. I have to see because I don't know where the screen is. So these are our internship programs. Can I take this microphone off? So this is the internship programs that we have. Exactly what I just mentioned here. Oh, I'm not good with this. Okay. I like that. I'm not good with my TV either. I'm like, I don't understand this stuff. Oh, I'm sorry. Right goes forward? Okay. All right, so beautiful. So this is our sewing, this is our studio now here, and we open the doors for all skill levels, beginners, intermediate, advanced, and you'll learn one of a kind. So the other thing is our classes are very small, so you really get a one-on-one attention pretty much. In our classes, our sewing classes, you can also come and learn how to do alterations. You can come, yes, we all need alterations. My designs, we don't put labels in them, we don't size them because we're fashion without boundaries. Right? So what does a 2 mean? What does a 10 mean? It doesn't mean anything because we all are, we look one way, we fit very differently, and we like to fit differently. So I think that's also very important. Most of my designs, you can probably 3, 4, 5 different sizes can wear that same piece. That's the way we create them. I also don't use patterns, so I'm a freestyle designer, and so I just lay fabrics on the table, and I never know what they're going to become. And it's really fun, because that's probably why I'm still excited every day to do this, because it is a surprise to myself as well. And I feel like life, I had plans in my head when I was younger, and I said, I'm going to be married, I'm going to do this, I'm going to have 8 children, I'm going to do this, really. And it didn't happen. So I think through these programs, I learned how to follow the path that was right for me. And when it wasn't feeling right, I would make a little bit of a shift, but easily, and it's not because it doesn't go where you think it's going, that it should stop you from keep on walking to and finding what you are looking for. Does that make sense? Yes? You gotta, and same thing with the designs. If I have this vision, this picture of exactly that design that I have in mind, I most likely will not be able to create that because I may not have the right tools to create it. So I go by what I have around me, and then I create from it, right? So we also want to be an inspiration to students that say, well, I don't have the money to start a business like this. No, don't let that stop you from making those steps to go forward, correct? So otherwise, it's not going to happen. So I think is that 1 minute? Yes, thank you. Small business, that's our retail business. These are all interns and students. I've had about 50 This year a little bit less, but we have about 40 to 50 interns and students a year, which is not bad for one person to handle, right? And that's for the events when we do fashion shows, and this is marketing and communication. And if you go on my website, this is our photographer. She started when she was 13 years old. Now she graduated a year before in high school and is going for photography into college. But she found her passion, really. And this is our sewing classes for boys and girls. And yes, I think we are small classes. These are some of our graduates, but we have lots of, so they get a certificate of graduation and so forth. Really fun. If you get a chance to go on my website, this is some of the testimonials. And then, and this is my final, right? Is that good? Well, thank you so much for having us here. Thank you.